Hey everyone, welcome to the AI Amigos Show. Today it's me and Jinchao again. It's just you and I,
Yeah.
Jinchao. Hey Jinchao.
Hi, James. That's
Marina is missing again. But she this week unfortunately she's not feeling very well. Her voice is gone, so she won't be in today. But we wish her that she gets well soon or gets better soon, and that we'll see her next week.
yeah.
So
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
fingers crossed. Yeah. So I know last week, Jinchao, we were talking about some interesting stuff on that report that came out. But another report came out this week.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to see it?
I think some of it. Yeah, but I didn't. I when I see the report, my head just goes oof. So
Right.
that's the kind of thing you have to carve out time to do it. I was like, just like, oh, I wanted to do it, but at the same time, I don't have time to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people on TikTok talking about it. I've
Yeah,
seen some videos and just talking bits and pieces about it. So I pulled up the paper, and if anyone wants to just let us know, comment in the chat there that you want the paper. But you should be able to find it. It's publicly
yeah,
available. But one thing that I initially thought of, because it really saying we're not there yet, and obviously for those of us who use AI on a daily basis, we know this, right? Would you
hmm
not would you not think? I mean, or do you think that we were, you know, we had switched on the what do you call? We had switched on Skynet. Our
yeah.
Terminator was going to come and take us.
Yeah, I think what was the key point is like the thinking or all those model we thought was thinking. It
It's not.
just it's
It's
just
not.
not right.
It's not. It's so. Is it thinking? Is it reasoning? No.
No.
We got two guests on. Welcome for those that are here.
Yeah.
Any comments that you have, feel free to put them into the chat there. No, it's. I mean, it goes back to this whole thing of these models.
Uh-huh.
Are they really using? Are they really thinking? Can they think on their own? And I
Yeah.
think that it goes back to that the whole idea of it doesn't do cognitive leaps. And so
Yeah.
if you think about like where you use AI, in your work, right? You use it in your work, in your
Yeah.
job, and in your job, you are doing the coding and you're doing whatever task you're doing, but you have to know the context. You have to be how it's working inside there and how certain things are the complexities of it connecting.
Mm,
And even then, like if you think about like I can think about stuff that I do in my work as well. That you have to talk to those that don't code, domain knowledge experts,
mm,
industry experts, to understand the complexity of their issue, and then
yeah.
design something to do what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And AI can't do that for you. Not
No.
yet.
Yeah, I was just wondering why they call thinking or reasoning. Isn't that a bit false advertising from this paper, right?
Well, I mean, you see when you type something in ChatGPT
Yeah.
or on Claude, and then it says think, or in Gemini, see it says thinking, and then it says if you want to see the thinking, click down, and you see all the stuff that's happening. But is it really thinking? And the
I know.
answer is the paper saying no.
Yeah, sometimes we see in the movie, right? We're saying like, oh, someone is like using this really, really bad terms, like, oh, while you live on the world, in this world, you're just wasting food. Like, can we see that too, Jenny? You really just wasting my electricity and tokens. You do it in there.
Drive by a data center, goes, you're wasting my electricity.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Reasoning, talking to yourself. you know. But
Yeah, well,
bring back to before the reasoning or thinking model came out, right? We're talking about those models. Fundamentally, we know, right? Is not really. It's not like it is predicting each next token in the context, right? And then because the large amount of data, it somehow when you're asking to code, it knows kind of your question from its huge data sets. Okay, I know how to code HTML. There's supposed to be a bracket here, supposed to be that, the probability, right?
Yeah.
I'm wondering, this is a part. I'm wondering how does that convert it to the thinking or reasoning? Is that fundamentally in there changed or just prompts? If it's prompts, right, to make it thinking, we know the fundamental, it wasn't like really thinking, if you know what I mean. It's only probability. So if the fundamental didn't change, whatever you change, it wouldn't have different outcome.
Well, what they're suggesting in a paper is that so before, like you were saying, it would just spit stuff out. That
Yeah.
it actually would have another, maybe you want to call it agent, that is
Mm-hmm.
checking the response to verify that did you answer the response to the question that was asked.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's checking and then making changes, that's considered thinking, or that's what they're calling thinking, or
Mm.
But the thing for me is like, well, is that well, it's not thinking, it's maybe rephrasing, refining all the R words that you can think of. But is it really thinking?
Yeah. It feels like a kind of correct itself for hallucination, right? Basically, this agent was saying like, okay, I'm running this, and I got probability of next word is tomorrow, but you got yesterday, so that's not right. Let me correct you. Maybe it's interesting. It is definitely interesting.
Well, I mean, talking about like those cognitive leaps, like one thing I remember when I was when I studied and going into AI when I got my degree, and one of the things I remember the lecturer saying, if you say, Jin Chao, how do you make a cup of coffee or a cup of tea? And then you begin to explain the steps. You say, well, you get a cup, you get the tea bag, you boil the water, and then you put maybe milk or sugar or whatever you put into it. Well, you understood that process, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with AI, it doesn't know where the water came from. You have to tell it. It doesn't know where the cup came from. It doesn't know where the tea bag came from.
Yeah.
And so what it's saying here, at least from what I'm seeing, is that really what it's saying, if I were to boil it down, is that AI is a very expensive parrot. That it has detected patterns and it can repeat the patterns, but if what you ask it is outside of its patterns, it cannot answer. And that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely, right? Because Gen AI is just a huge model, right? When you're thinking about it. Like I was thinking about this puzzle game. Well, like when we're doing machine learning AI stuff, you give a reward system, right?
Yeah.
To model to do specific task. But when you have a model already trained, basically that's Gen AI, right? It's already trained to ask him to do puzzle. Yeah, I don't see where you can do live reward system on the pre-trained model already. You know what I mean?
I mean, you have to give. I mean, well, if you think about like reinforcement learning, you do give it the reward when in the training process. But I mean, once it's gone live, as you're saying, there's no place to give it the reward and say, improve other than doing, which we see, a thumbs up, thumbs down, very simple to say, and then they take that data and then look at, what the responses were and say, okay, how can we improve this? But that's done after the fact. It's not done in real time,
Yeah,
how long it takes them to do that, I don't know, but I mean,
that's another interesting point as well. When you do come down, they use it to do like fine tuning, right? As a fine tuning kind of the reinforcement training, like it's not right. So it's interesting. It's like my question is, it's been there for Gen AI has been there for a good while now.
Yeah.
Now, like Apple only release that says it's not really thinking. Because nobody really thought about that. You know what I mean? That's interesting.
Well, the thing for me is that, remember, for me at least, this is a market research paper that was funded and sponsored by Apple. Now, tell me about what Apple's AI is.
Oh, right. Yeah.
They don't
Okay.
have an AI. You
That's
know,
the other side of it. Yes.
yeah, you know. So for me, I'm going, they don't have an AI, so maybe they're trying to kind of knock it to, you know.
Yes. Yes. Maybe
But
tomorrow Google says, "Oh, Apple is not right. Our model is thinking."
they probably said it already, Jin Xiao.
Yeah.
Forget.
That's a really good point, James. That's a really good point. It's interesting. Yeah, Apple doesn't have, but well, Apple is kind of really lacking behind in the model. We remember whenever the GPT-3 and 3.5 that came, and then a Claude and Google and any other AI provider was really behind.
Yeah.
Was everyone was saying like, oh, Apple really had a good use case because they provided like a little AI service in your phone, and I know my desktop had my laptop had some kind of image generation. It was really cool. They said, oh yeah, Apple could have this amazing ecosystem if it has use cases in there. But so far, we didn't see that moving forward at all in Apple, right?
Well, yeah, isn't their M1 or now it's the M3 chip is supposed to be an AI enabled. Not that
Yeah.
it's using AI, it's better good for like when you use AI on your computer.
Hmm.
What now? I when I say that, I don't think it's AI in regards to like ChatGPT in your browser. I think it's machine learning. When you're training your own models locally. That the chip is good for that. It's got a lot of GPU processing. Uh,
Yeah.
One other thing they said, which was quite interesting, is that they gave it this complex problem that they normally give to prospective employees when they interview them, and it was able to figure it out very quickly. And because I think that the answer's been out, it's out in the ether, out in the public somewhere.
Okay.
And then they made it more complex, and it
Okay.
could not answer it. And then
Yeah.
they gave it the answer of the algorithm to use, and it still could not answer it. It kept just rephrasing everything but saying it in a different way.
Okay.
It's and what I heard someone say, it just gave up. It
Yeah.
gave up. It was like, this is too tough. Forget it. I'm telling you like this, like this, like this, like this. I'll say it again another way, another way, another way, and then just like forget about it. That's basically what they're saying happened with generative models, Gen AI models.
Hmm. Yeah, it does. Because yeah, do, when I use like for coding or asking the questions, troubleshooting something or whatever, I do see that happen quite a bit. If you
Yeah.
don't provide any new information, it just kind of keeps saying like, "Oh, did you check this? Did you check that?" I said, "I checked it. Can you find something else?" Yeah, everything else is fine. But did you check this? Did you check that? Did you check? It's like, oh, okay.
And
Until
what do
you,
you do? What do you do when that happens?
yeah, I don't know. You just give new information or created a new chat and start from the
That's
beginning.
what you start a new chat, or you go from ChatGPT, you go to Gemini, or you
Yeah,
go to Claude
yeah,
to see, or DeepSeek.
exactly. Exactly. That's what exactly happened. Yeah.
That's
So,
what I do. I mean, that's what I do. Like if it goes and it's like you just kind of like, oh, just not giving me the answer. Maybe I've asked it. It seems to get stuck in let's call it an infinite loop of
yeah.
wrong answers. It just keeps giving you the wrong answer, wrong
That's
answer, wrong
that's
answer.
actually a good a good use cases. I know there's a lot of multi-agent system, right? And nobody really built a team of OpenAI, Claude, and Google Gemini. Just those three. You know,
Okay.
Tackling my problems.
Yeah.
Google. Oh, you get it. Okay. Google didn't get it. Claude, now you come in. What is this saying here? Can you figure it out? Yeah, that's good, but you're gonna spend a lot of money.
Yeah, well, if you're not using the free version, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to spend a lot of money. But I mean, it I think as well is that this could push someone to develop something, or I mean, and obviously, when I say
Hmm.
someone, I'm talking like a big company because you would need like a ChatGPT, OpenAI, DeepSeek, someone like that to
Yeah.
develop. develop, and I'm sure they're working on that kind of stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I will say that even though this paper's come out and said what it said,
Mm-hmm.
that I use AI every day now,
Yeah.
and I find it very useful. And I pay for the subscription.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for those of us who use AI on a daily basis, we're like, when that came out, it's like, well, it doesn't think. Well, we're like, duh, we know it doesn't think. It helps us generate ideas and stuff, and helps us work faster, work more
Mm-hmm.
efficient. But ultimately, it doesn't do our job for us.
No, definitely not. It needed point. It really cutting down the time on point me to the right direction, right?
Yeah.
Before, yeah, I was just chatting with my manager
Mhm.
today
Yeah.
about. I was saying like, remember 2023, and we're doing ChatGPT 3 or something, or 2022. I think it's the end of 2022. I started
2.5.
to start using ChatGPT, but that time I was still using Stack Overflow a little bit. I'm
Yes.
finding issue right now is I don't even really open Google search. The first place is in the LLM with search, find the answer, right? So our work process, the workflow has changed completely, completely. So yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say that we could do a lot more. I mean, things that would have taken you. So let's say, for example, something would have taken you a day to code. You can do
Hmm.
it probably now in an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Would you say?
Um,
I mean, would you say an 8 hours comes down to an hour or 2 hours?
what I find interesting is in the real job, probably programmers and all that, and they don't really get the time to. They hardly sign a whole project you code yourself, right?
Yeah.
Everyone is a Superman. But I do think I find very useful for changing small section of the code and ask him to looking in. The problem with some code is sometimes you import something, you use somewhere else section affect the other pieces. You only needed to change a little bit, and providing the logs, the troubleshooting is really, really quick. I find that really help. If you and then you like for us, it's just supervise. Look at the code. Okay, yeah, this makes sense. And what's the error? Oh, you got an error here or something like that. And okay, I understand all my code used there and all that. So that's really fast. If so yeah.
Well, I find as well, like, whenever you use like a lot of code and you put it in,
Yeah.
obviously we don't put in proprietary code, but code you're trying to maybe refactor or what have you.
Yeah.
It kind of like summarizes it, or like it gives you the top, the
Yeah.
bottom, but there's no middle.
Yeah.
The old commercial back, it was, where's the beef? There's no beef in the middle. They just do that, and then it's like, well, my function seems to be working fine, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work.
Yeah. Um, and that's really good. Cases extended to that, I think the other one is it's what I find really useful is sometimes they release some, wanted to use some package and all that. There's always documentation, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
dry, it's hard to understand. Different people write different documentation differently,
yeah.
and especially official documentation, right? If you want to use a Python package, you have to look into what it is and all that. I find it really good to just copy those into the Gen AI. It says give code. How does it really use? And then when you look at the code, it's a lot quicker. You understand, oh yeah, it requests that. What needs, oh, you need JSON, and you need this key, that key, that key. Output this. I understand. Okay, let me use that somewhere. So I think that's really saving time as well, especially if you're looking into working on some new project or something like that.
What do you think about people that, I mean, like, there's been a lot of talk in regards to, that the software developers' jobs are over.
Hmm.
Like, like we're not going to need software developers anymore. That the code is going to be written itself.
The quick answer is right now, no. definitely not. We need a senior one, at least, for sure.
Yeah.
If you are just learning that code, and junior developers, probably probably not. It's not really replacing you. Is it kind of, for me, if I'm the boss, right? I hire you, I train you to do the stuff. Um, why not using AI to do? Because initially, those junior developers or anybody junior, right,
Yeah.
would not sign hard tasks. And their job is to get experiences, to get better and better, right? I do see some part of that um, will get replaced.
But if you think about that though, like if you say, okay, junior developers, there's not going to be junior developers because we're using AI. Then how are we ever going to get senior developers?
Yeah,
Because
probably.
you have to go through that junior to become senior. You just you're not born senior. You know what I'm saying?
I understand, but someone has to learn. Whenever Gen AI is producing the code, you have to learn what it's writing, why it is doing this way, and in the team, and you kind of rely on the kind of person, the senior, and to tell you all the tricks and stuff. And
Yeah.
we see that coming. Don't you see that coming? I mean, a lot of young kids is doing AI solutions and all that. They have no idea what they really created. Do you know what I mean? In the code. So a
But when
lot
something goes
more.
wrong, they don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, a lot more of those coming. So that's a bit scary, to be honest. It's
Yeah.
not because oh, the code is not good or something like that. It just, if you don't understand the security bit is big hole, you got to understand it, right? So yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I saw a TikTok video today of a teacher, and she was talking about how use of AI, like, and she says, I'm very, what she was saying is that she very much likes use of technology, but she said that the use of AI is not good, and she said the reason why is because people, and I'm just because as you were saying that, I was thinking about this, that people don't want to think.
Hmm.
So she says, it's not just, and she said, oh, you might say, well, it's a boring assignment or it's useless. She said, I make them interesting and everything. And she said, and I still have students that will go and copy, put it in, generates, copy and paste it and submit. There's no thinking, there's no thought process. So I can see like what you're saying there is that someone was one say, oh, I have this problem in code. It comes out, you copy, you paste it, and you run it, and you don't think. And it's like, but does this actually do what you want it to do? Is there something in there that shouldn't be in there? If something goes wrong, where does it go wrong? And I mean, and I could say I'm guilty of doing that. Getting the code, pasting it, and you try to get stuff done in the day, and like, yeah, I just need to get this done and go. But the thing is that and you can even say, well, I want you to document, and then it puts all the comments in and everything like that, and then I'll go and when I'll go back and I'll review it. I'm like, I did this, I did that, and I had to change a few things. It's like, so yeah, it's definitely it has a way to go. We're not there yet.
No, I think the large. You see, we look at the some way of the project is one big project from the idea to a ready to ship stage, right? A lot of AI we're seeing, or the solution TikTok people are talking about. Oh, you find this website, just prompt it and then deploy it. But for those kind of project, I do think you needed to learn. You needed to read it through because that help you in the long run. If it's keep just fixing itself, sometimes it hallucinate, sometimes sidetrack, and in those big projects, if you're not clear at the very beginning, um, and the chat get long, you kind of losing the context.
Well, what we're talking about, we're really talking about is critical thinking.
Yeah, yeah, and then even if you don't if you wanted to move to a new chat, you have to tell the LLM the whole project again. So that was a painful point. it better off, yeah.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
better off to but that's the whole project, right? You're not gonna work on a whole project in one go. It's pretty hard. And for small daily works, fixing bug, find stuff, write some tests for it, yeah, you could. But it could speed up your process, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, but the experience that you have, like, so you talked earlier about you have to change the question, you have to do this. So the experience that you have, Jinsha, like you think about it, right? The experience I have is that you know the question to ask and how to ask it.
yeah, that's the key.
Get what you want. But if you don't know anything about software code programming, you're going to go and ask it something and it's completely wrong.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we can call it technical prompting.
Right? Builder AI, like we talked about last week, right?
Yeah, a technical prompting, because when we're asking specific, like in cloud or in data science, oh, I wanted to use this package. Is there any other package like this package? So like you kind of know, right? You just don't know exactly what that package is. But the problem for a lot of people is, what is that question I should ask, right? So yeah.
That's a very fair point. But it's just very interesting how this is all developing, and I think that I still am a strong proponent of AI. This paper does not dissuade me. I would imagine for all of those who are listening here with the AI Amigos Show, obviously we are AI, pro AI, but I just we got some. I think which is good is it's probably putting some cold water on all the hype. There's a lot of hype,
Oh yeah.
AI this and AI that, and it's like, I mean, there is a lot of positive things it's doing, but it's just we're not there yet. So
yeah, same as everything, right? When you're talking .com bubble, everything is .com, right? When you're talking about Bitcoin, everything is Bitcoin blockchain. Now the Bitcoin is all-time high. Nobody talks about it. It's all AI, right?
Or the .coms for that matter.
Yeah.
all I see online, Jinshan, you probably see these things as well. Speaking of hype, is all these people. I'm a teenager and I make 10,000 per month on my AI. Blah 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 blah. And you're going, how do you do what? Who's paying you 10,000 a month? But there's so many people that are so many people, teenagers, I guess, saying that. What do you think? Do you think it's real?
I don't know. Whatever I think, I just thought like, whoa, I must doing my side hustle wrong. Where's my revenue stream?
I'm missing a trick here.
Yeah, everyone is. Oh, I really find this. I was in bed. Didn't do anything. I have like this 4-figure revenue stream coming in. I didn't need to do anything. I said, tell me that. I mean, like, what is it?
DM me. Sign up for my course.
I can have it. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, that's the kind of like a double quoted expert as well, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, it's good to see. I mean, giving those young kids have great idea and then generate something to do. But yeah, you have to put a kind of question mark on that. It's just content as TikTok, right? So
yeah. Well, I mean, are they making money on the number of subscribers? Are they making money on other?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I just think like all the ones that I see, and I know a teenager that's making 10,000 or 15,000 a month, and you say they're living in this big house. I can afford this big house with this, and it's just kind of going, I don't know, man. It just doesn't.
Maybe we're talking about those like the economic is not very good. Maybe those tax persons should check it out. Those people's company, how they pay taxes. But yeah, I think a lot of them is basically the no-code solution now, right? I see a lot of them, and it really helps.
I mean, I'm using N8N. You're using N8N, which is not it's a low-code solution, right? It's not a no-code, but equally, it's not easy. But it's not like and this is because we got years of experience.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's not. It's just like any other system you have to learn, right? It's brand new. for us as well. We have to learn. It's definitely not easy. Once you understand each module how it works and kind of start to get together. But I think like we discussed about this outside the podcast as well. Like right now, it's big fish eating small fish, right? In the future, with the picture, probably people are using just the open AI or well any of those large LLM provider like Google, OpenAI, Claude, whatever, using it as kind of interface, and then everything behind it just connected to different services and all that. And you probably don't need use AI at all after that, right?
Well, that's it. I mean, it's all you want to say. It's all integration. I mean, and the more they integrate everything for you, the less you're going to leave, and that's where that doesn't leave anything, as you're saying, for the little guy, because it's like, oh, like Gemini now works in your Gmail, it works in your Google Drive, it works in your Google Docs and Google Google Sheets. It all works and it's all seamless and integrated. So where does the little guy come in? Do you see what I'm saying? And I've been speaking about the big guy and the little guy. I'm just thinking about like how OpenAI or ChatGPT came out of nowhere. Like they weren't a big guy, and all of a sudden they were threatening people like Google, and then Google came in, and obviously they got plenty of money to deal with it. And but they came out of nowhere, and then we got people like Claude and DeepSeek. These are all new entrants, but who's gonna survive it all? It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, on a level, I was thinking about it. Kind of. Sometimes I'm thinking about, are we really forward or backward now? Because if you're thinking about Siri, right, or all that sort of stuff, there are little small language models, right, and then they have services connected to them, kind of just like OpenAI, anything, or Claude with MCP. So if you're thinking about it fundamentally, is there a lot of change? It just model is a bit bigger. That was it. Right?
Have you seen the meme that where someone with so when you say it's kind of what you're saying, it's new, but it's the same old thing. It's just repackaged differently, rebranded or whatever. But the meme where the guy, it's like the Scooby-Doo when they're unveiling the villain, and they open the villain and it says AI, and then they take the mask off, and it's the old paperclip. Do you remember the paperclip that Microsoft Word had in Office? That was supposed to help you. It's just saying it's that. It's the same thing.
You're doing an annoying sound, ding, or something like that, and come out, right?
Exactly. Nothing new.
I don't know how many of our listeners knows that. This shows the age, man.
It shows you how long we've been around, Jin Chao.
Yeah. It's not the monitor those days is not even flat, man.
Jeez, the monitor sizes were huge. I remember that. Like they were like pick up like almost all your desk.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, not anymore.
No. Very soon, probably just a monitor left.
Probably so. All right. Well, Jin Chao, that was a great conversation. And next week we'll be back. Next week, hopefully we got Marina back, and she's back from Argentina, but hopefully she is feeling better and got her voice back. But thank you, Jin Chao, for a very interesting conversation, and thanks to those who joined in.
We had a fun.
Yeah. All right. See you guys.
I know.